the kids out on a family bike ride. Well, my husband ran and the kids and I rode bikes. So that was quite an experience. I think we were a little ambitious. We went on like a 6-mile bike ride. So by the time the end hit, the kids were like, seriously? But it was fun. But we stayed close to home as usual. Let me know, what was your weekend like? How did you all spend it? What did you do? Were you able to get out? Did you stay close to home? Let me know. I'm really curious. I want to hear. Okay, so as you can see, today I'm going to talk about how we talk to our kids about COVID without scaring the heck out of them. And for those of you who might be catching me for the first time, I'm Dr. Lynetta Willis. I'm a psychologist and a family coach, plus speaker and author. And I love helping families break free from stable misery so that they can feel more joy and harmony and connection with their time together. I am also I'm starting a group. It's called Space to Breathe, and it will start this Friday. That's the website. What do you call that thing? At the bottom of the screen. teamjoy.rocks, not .com, teamjoy.rocks, so Team Joy Rocks. And it will start on Friday. It is a sliding scale. So what's going on with my shirt here? Pay what you can. Sorry about that. Things just happen when you get online. Pay what you can. I know these times are hard for so many, but it's just a group where you can come in and feel calm, and there are going to be a lot of guests who are going to come in, and it's just a space for you to be able to feel calm, get some time to meditate, pull away, feel more confident as these uncertain days go by, and also have a space for community. Now, the reason why I usually wait till the end to say that, but the reason why I want to say that here is because there's been a lot on the internet lately about how we keep ourselves calm, during uncertain times. But it begs the question, what do we do when our kids are freaking out? And we're freaking out a little bit too. Like, how do we handle those situations? About an hour ago, I was on a Zoom call with a second grade class. Are they second graders? Yes, a class of second graders. And I was leading a discussion with them and some of their parents on COVID and what they were feeling and what they were thinking. And I came away with some really interesting insights. And that's part of the reason that I felt compelled to come on and talk about this today, because I really do think that there are some great ways that we can help our kids not feel so anxious. And I'm going to talk about them now. Okay, so one of the main questions that I was asked by a mom that really sparked all of this, she asked me, I don't know what to tell my child. I want her to understand the gravity of the situation without scaring her to death, right? And that's important, because if we minimize it too much, then they don't do things, right? Like, they're like, oh, it's not a big deal. I don't need to wash my hands. I don't need to stay inside. I don't need to, stay 6 feet apart, right? So we don't want to leave them with the thought that this is nothing. It's, don't even worry about it. Go out and, hug everybody. But at the same time, we don't want them cowering under their beds, scared that the corona monster is going to come and take their family away. So how do we strike that balance where they get the gravity of it, but they're not terrified, right? And this could be for younger and for older kids. Now, older kids, I'm thinking like tweens and teens, they're going to probably hop on the media more and see more things, but they still are going to have questions. And they're probably more likely, especially if they're in media. Why is this looking crazy? Sorry, I'm just going to leave it alone. If they're in the media, they're probably more likely to get misinformation, right? Depending on who they're listening to. I'm sorry, it's just bothering me way too much. Okay. Depending on who they're listening to, right? So we really want to make sure that we are, that they have the right information. So these can apply to kids that run, the gambit in terms of age range. So how do we do this? So the first thing that we should do is we should ask more than we answer. So our kid comes up to us and they're like, I'm concerned, I'm worried, I miss my friends, you know, all these things. And a lot of times we're so quick to just say, hi, Pam. That's not what we're quick to say. We're so quick to say, oh, don't be scared. It's okay, blah, blah, blah. You know, when in reality, we should ask more questions and get clear on exactly what their concerns are and exactly what they need from us in those moments, because we might be off, right? So saying like, you know, if they ask a question like, will this ever end? Or, you know, are a bunch of people going to die? You know, starting out with, what's a really good question? What do you think? You know, what do you think? And listen to what they say. And then you may follow up with, you know, it seems like you're really concerned about, say more, right? And get them talking so that you're really, really clear on exactly what it is that they're concerned about, so you can address their exact concern. The next thing you can do is check the concern and then ask another question, right? We want to get as deep as we can, because this does a number of things. One, it helps us get clear on where they need us and how they need us. The other thing that it does is it allows them to process. It allows them to get out what it is that they're holding inside, right? So you might say like, oh, so you're concerned that we'll all catch the virus. And then what'll happen, right? So we all catch the virus, and then what? You know, they might say, it's like our natural thought might be that their logical next step would be like, and then we're all going to die, right? And then we go off and you assuring them that we're not going to die. And they were like, I actually just thought we were going to be stuck in bed for a couple of weeks, but now I think we're going to die, you know? So making sure that we're really clear about what their concern is so that we can address it directly. So, you know, you say like, oh, okay, so we'll all get sick, and then what'll happen? Oh, then we'll have to go to the doctor. Okay. Yeah. I hear you. Right. So really just checking in the concern, making sure you have it, and then asking another question, you know, and then what will happen? Right. And then when you get very clear on exactly what their concern is, do you know that game, Two Truths and a Lie? Well, this is a truth and a task, right? So what you do is you tell them a truth, and then you give them a task, right? Because the most important thing, really one of the most important things really for all of us in this, is that we have a sense of control, right? So when you give your child a truth and then you tell them a task, what it ultimately does is it gives them a truth, but then it gives them something to do, something they can control. Hi, Claire. So you might say, they're like, oh my gosh, everybody's getting sick. People are getting sick all over the place. And you might say, yeah, you know, people are getting sick. And this is why we are so good at washing our hands before we eat. Do you want to go and practice washing our hands together? Right? So you see, like you told them, you gave them the truth. Like, yes, people are getting sick. That is not, you don't lie to them, right? It's like Santa Claus. You don't lie. You just, yes, people are getting sick. And we can wash our hands really, really well. And that'll help us to stay healthy, right? And then, you know, so do you want to go wash our hands together? Or, yeah, people are having to go into the hospital. It is scary, right? When you see that people are having to go to the hospital. And doctors are working really hard to help those people, right? So if we do things like we stay 6 feet away, or we stay close to home and don't go out a lot, right? This will help people to get well faster and to protect us from getting sick, right? So again, truth, yes, people are going to the hospital. People are dying, right? And then a task. And this is something you can do to have control, right? So a truth and a task is always something we give. What we don't want to do is we don't want to put on our children more than they can handle. And when we just give them buttloads of the truth and we don't, I meant to say boatloads, sorry, of the truth, and we don't give them something to do to have a sense of control, then we could be putting them in a situation where they're holding so much and they don't know what to do with it, right? Because they don't have the coping skills and all of that stuff to deal with it. So a truth and a task, really important. The other thing we can do is only answer the question. Because I know I can be really good at this, where somebody will ask me a question and I'll go across the street, next door, around the corner, down to the store, in the library, then across town again to the dollar store, and then come back. And like, all they wanted to know was like, how do I get to my mailbox, right? And I'm up here like telling them all this stuff. So we really want to make sure that we're answering the question, which is why it's so important to get clear on exactly what their question is up front, right? So we'll go on and on. The other thing is, when we're trying to explain complicated things like a pandemic to especially younger children, using it's like is actually really helpful. So like, it's like the flu, you know, like, because where as adults, we hear all over the news that's like, it's not like the flu, you know, in terms of how it manifests, it is like the flu, right? So it's like, it's like the flu, you know, most people get flu-like symptoms. And then most people get better again, right? Like, remember when you had that cold last? Remember it felt really crappy? That's how a lot of people feel. They just feel really crappy, right? And they have to go to the doctor, and then they have to, right? So doing the it's like can be really, really helpful so that they understand it. Like, they don't need to know all the statistics about the world and like, well, China has this many in Europe and they don't even know all that, right? So using the it's like and comparing it to something, right, that they can understand, bringing it down to their age appropriate level. And remember, we don't want to give them more than they can handle. So making sure that we also have a way that they can feel in control. Next tip, watch the media, but not around the kids. Oh, when I was on the call, I said, how many of you all hear the news when your parents are watching? And all of them were like, me, you know, and it's really, really important that we watch what we're watching. Like the other day, my husband and I were watching the news, and our daughter was going, you know, back and forth, and she wasn't watching it, but it was like pretty grave. Like they were talking about death tolls and how it's going to triple in like a week, and, you know, the number and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, turn this off. Because she's hearing it. Even though she's not sitting down, you know, soaking it in, she's hearing it. And the fact that she's not sitting down and soaking it in actually makes it worse, because what she's hearing is like death, pandemic, you know, like, you know, spreading, like all the surfaces will kill you. Cruise ships are evil. Like, this is all she's hearing as she's walking by, you know, and it's like, you're only getting half the story, kid. So make sure that you're like, if you're going to watch the news, maybe watch it when the kids are asleep, or when after you put them down to bed, or listen to it on your phone with some headphones on, because we don't need them soaking in all of that stuff, because sometimes they don't even realize they're soaking it in, but they hear death, kill, surfaces, cruises are evil, blah, 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 you know, and all this stuff. And it gets in there on a subconscious level, and that can raise their anxiety level too. And the other thing is, remember that we have control, because this starts when kids are really little, and I don't care how old your kid gets, right? As long as, you know, until they're probably out of your house, you know, they're always going to look to you for a cue, and it's subconscious. You remember, you know, like when like a toddler is in a situation and something ambiguous is happening where they're not sure how to feel about it, they immediately look to the person they trust, and they will look at your face, and they will read your face, and the look on, you don't have to say a word. The look on your face will absolutely tell them how they need to feel about the situation. So if they're like, I don't know, and they look at you and you're like, you know, then like, okay, right? But if you're like, they're going to freak out. They're going to freak out, right? So doing things to calm yourself, doing things to take care of yourself, doing things to remind yourself that we have control. And this is why the Space to Breathe group would be a really, really good place, especially if you are feeling isolated and you are feeling like, I don't really have as much control, or it's really hard for me to calm this anxiety that I'm feeling. That group's going to be a great place. Again, it starts Friday. You can register all the way through Thursday at midnight Pacific Standard Time. Teamjoy.rocks is the what do you call it? Website. I keep forgetting that word. It's a 4-week group, and it's just a way to get in there to help you feel more calm, right? Have a way to release and just be, to help you feel more confident and more in control. Get your questions answered, whether it be about your parenting, your relationship, Corona, you know, whatever. We're gonna have a lot of guests coming in to talk about different things that can help us out. And also it's a community, which right now, the number one thing that helps people through uncertain situations is social support. Research has shown that over and over and over again. So getting in a group with other unintentional homeschoolers who get it, who are dealing with the same things, who really just need calm support, more confidence, community is going to be so helpful. I have so much stuff planned for that group. I'm so excited. So please jump in. Okay, so I hope this was helpful to you in terms of how to talk to children and how to deal when all this stuff is going on. Remember, ask more questions than you answer, check the concern, and then ask again. Make sure you have it straight. Do a truth and a task, 1-to-1 ratio. Make sure you only answer the question that was asked so you're not spinning off. Watch the media, but not around your kids. Okay. And then remember that we do have control. We do have a sense of control. Okay. So those are all things that we can do to help us to feel more in control of those are all things that we can do to help us feel like we are more grounded in terms of how we communicate to our children and what we communicate to our children. Okay. All right. So I hope that was helpful, and please go ahead and hop in the group Space to Breathe, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for hopping on. Bye.